After yet another captivating episode to add to the exciting first season of X-Men 97, we are now knocking on the doorstep of the final part of the season finale. Tolerance's Extinction Part 2 expands the chaos and crisis further, and the eventful middle part of the finale has a few moments that will be a delightful treat for the comic book fan. We couldn't have expected a better setup for the final episode of the season, and in this video we will explore everything that goes down in the penultimate episode and how the pieces of the puzzle can finally be put together in the climactic episode. There will be some major spoilers along the way, so you've been warned. Before we go into our explanation, we have a very small request. If you like our content, please support us by subscribing to our channel. This is a small click for you, but for us, it means a lot. Thank you. Let's begin. How does the plot thicken in Episode 9, Tolerance's Extinction, Part 2? The episode starts off with Professor Xavier waking up and leaving his bed. The scene suggests that he is not using the specialized armored Shi'ar suit that granted him mobility in an earlier episode, and he is wheelchair-bound like always. Magneto, on the other hand, is back in his old elements, and he is even seen in this iconic red and purple suit with a helmet, clearly fixated on revenge against humanity. We also get a quick look at all the Prime Sentinels, who have turned into lifeless statues everywhere. Bastion can be seen carrying the lifeless Sentinel form of his mother, and he clearly seems distressed about losing her in an unexpected attack. Jubilee and Sunspot, who have managed to flee after their captor Sentinels were immobilized, are chased into an alley by a group of mutant-hating people. However, it is Storm and Forge to the rescue, and the fanatics are quickly dispersed by their arrival. Meanwhile, Cyclops and Professor Xavier have an emotional encounter, where Cyclops blames him for handing the charges of the X-Men to Magneto. Xavier explains that he took such a decision for a free future for Cyclops and Jean Grey. But Cyclops isn't happy with his explanations. Rogue finally wakes up from her injuries, and Nightcrawler is there to comfort her and fill her in with all the details of the events that took place while she was unconscious all this while. The other X-Men are reunited as Storm finally rejoins the team, along with Sunspot and Jubilee. Jean Grey is ecstatic to meet her beloved Aurora once again, and even Forge seems to be on their side now. Jean Grey reveals to the others that the X-Men will have to relocate to an old base on Muir Island because their current base is in ruin. Cyclops updates us with the consequences of Magneto's attack, which has left every major first world infrastructure in ruins, and thousands have died. Storm tells the X-Men that the Earth's magnetic field is continuously dying, and time is limited before all of humanity is left for extinction. Jean Grey suggests finding Magneto quickly so that he can be convinced to reverse the damage he has done. But Wolverine thinks otherwise, and feels like pleasantries wouldn't solve the problem as effectively as violence. Professor Xavier wants to solve things peacefully as always, but it is Cyclops who lays down the battle path for the team. He divides the team in two parts, where Blue Team will include him, and they will try to find Magneto. Gold Team will be led by Storm and Jean Grey, and also include Forge and Cable, as they try to take down Bastion at his headquarters. Meanwhile, Beast and Forge discuss about the possibilities of reversing the Prime Sentinel tech, which Beast claims will take years to perfect. But he's also certain that the humanity and the Prime Sentinels can be restored. They need to find the command server that controls all Prime Sentinels, and Xavier reveals that Bastion himself is the command server here. He also opens up about how he met Bastion as a child because he could interact with machines, and how Bastion's mother had shut the door in Professor Xavier's face because she hated the idea of having to do anything with mutants. It is time to work together as a team, just like Storm suggests. But is it really going to be the case?
Decide, my X-Men.
Magneto ignites a civil war within the X-Men. The next part of the episode goes on to explore how the troubles for the X-Men are far from over. Professor Xavier continues to whine and cry about his guilt, and this time, it is Rogue to whom he apologizes for not being there when it matters the most. Just like Cyclops earlier, even Rogue doesn't take too kindly to his whining. However, they are soon interrupted by the arrival of Magneto. The X-Men rush to the spot, and the stage is all set for an epic showdown. But Magneto is here for something else, and he rejects the offers and pleas of Professor Xavier, who continues to believe in human-mutant coexistence. Meanwhile, Magneto offers the X-Men members a chance to join him in what he believes is the right path, creating a world suitable for mutants. Rogue is the first to join Magneto and abandon the X-Men because she is far too traumatized after Genosha. Roberto also joins the team because after his mother handed him over to the Sentinels, he has little belief in humans. The Lovebirds are separated as Jubilee stays back, and it is Civil War time as the mutant superheroes are all set to clash among themselves. How does the dramatic climax unfold? What happens to the Gold Team at Bastion's lair? Cable is preparing for a journey to Asteroid M, and he has a final emotional encounter with Cyclops, who makes him understand the importance of respecting both Jean Grey and Madeline Pryor. They also share a little moment as Cyclops hands him the iconic old costume, which brings the black leather costume reference hilariously. Professor Xavier promises President Kelly that the X-Men would do everything in their capacity to save the world. The X-Men suit up, and we get to see a nice mix of old and new suits as the two teams head out to their respective missions. Forge flies a Blackbird into Bastion's base, and alongside him are Cable, Jean Grey, Morph, Storm, and Beast. Bastion unleashes his Prime Sentinel, who are powered by his technopathy, and the aircraft is immediately attacked by scores of these Sentinels. Storm and Forge plan to divert the Sentinels in the air, while the remaining team members can work on the ground for the actual mission. The team on the ground is attacked by Giant Sentinel, and Morph turns into the mighty Hulk and smashes a few of them, while Beast and Cable take care of the others. All of a sudden, Jean Grey is cornered by Mr. Sinister, who intends to prey on our weaknesses, which are known to him alone. She fights back with a powerful psychic attack, and Mr. Sinister is down and out for the time being. Morph turns into Mr. Sinister in order to confuse Bastion into a hasty retreat, but his tricks don't work with the evil mastermind. Beast tries to help, but even he is restrained by Bastion. To make matters worse, the Blackbird is shot down with Forge inside, and even Storm can be seen crashing into the ground after one of the Sentinels locks in on her. Meanwhile, Mr. Sinister tries the ultimate trick in his book and takes control of Cable's mind and turns him against Jean Grey. She tries in vain to convince him in regaining his composure, and we get to see that Cable also has telekinetic powers like his mother. The attack is too overwhelming for Jean Grey, and she probably doesn't fight back with all her might because of her love for Cable and Cyclops. She manages to convey a final message to Cyclops, confessing her feelings for him before she's knocked out by a powerful energy blast from Cable. Is Wolverine dead following the violent duel with Magneto? Nightcrawler teleports the rest of the X-Men, including Wolverine, right into Magneto's lair, and Wolverine is quick to launch into a fierce attack. However, Rogue takes him down in no time, and Roberto also springs to action, fighting Jubilee for a while before she fights back. Cyclops and Nightcrawler struggle to deal with Magneto's attack, and Professor Xavier continues with more of his pleas to Magneto to calm down. Of course, it doesn't work, and finally Xavier does something more than just talk. He advises Cyclops to attack Magneto's helmet, and he suggests that they have to trust the Gold Team to get the job done with Bastion. During a scuffle with Wolverine, Magneto loses his helmet. Left vulnerable, he is attacked by Professor Xavier's powerful psychic attack, which seems to leave Magneto in a world of pain. But by now, Cyclops has received the last message from Jean Grey, and he stops Xavier's attack, saying that he needs to buy the Gold Team some more time. Magneto launches another one of his powerful electromagnetic pulses across the planet, and Charles Xavier is helplessly held with Magneto's helmet on him, making it impossible for him to use his telepathic powers. At this opportune moment comes the scene that every comic book lover has been waiting for. Wolverine uses the chaos to plunge his claws into Magneto, impaling him in the process. However, the powerful mutant only seems to be in pain momentarily before he fights back with a powerful electromagnetic attack. He seems to be liquefying all the adamantium within Wolverine, and it trickles out of his skin. The process is unbearably painful for Wolverine, and you can see the pages of the comic books in animation as the episode comes to an end. What can happen in the final episode of the season? Is Wolverine going to be back? The events of the 9th episode of X-Men 97 are a fun throwback to the comic book story arc, Fatal Attraction, where Magneto rips out the adamantium from Wolverine's body. The result almost kills Wolverine, but he survives the onslaught because of his incredible healing abilities. In the comic books, Wolverine is taken by Skrulls working for Apocalypse, and Apocalypse is the one who gives him the chance to get his adamantium back, under the condition that he defeats Sabretooth in a duel. Wolverine succeeds, but he also ends up becoming one of Apocalypse's riders and takes up the mantle of death while he serves Apocalypse briefly. We cannot rule out the appearance of Apocalypse in the season finale, and this might be a good way to set things up for the next season as well. However, don't expect Wolverine's recovery process to be so fast, as it takes quite a bit of time in the comics. Is Jean Grey still out there? The attack on Jean Grey by Cable, who is manipulated by Mr. Sinister, is a truly shocking moment in the episode, and many people are wondering if the show will kill her off as well. However, we believe that it is unlikely that such a major character will be taken out of the show in the first season itself, especially because we have already lost Gambit. Besides, Jean Grey is nearly immortal because of the Phoenix Fort, right? And even if she is down and out, the Phoenix can simply revisit Earth and revive her. Also, she's the one who will probably help out Wolverine and keep him from dying. So, her death will leave quite a loophole in the narrative. What will happen to Forge and Storm? The troubles for the X-Men seem to be mounting at each step, and the attack on Forge and Storm also leave them vulnerable if they don't rejoin the action soon. As for Storm, a minor hit from a Sentinel is unlikely to cause her much trouble. She's probably just knocked out temporarily, and you will witness her fury on the Sentinels very quickly. But Forge is probably in deeper trouble because we can see his aircraft up in flame and on the verge of crashing. He shows no signs of ejecting, and unlike Storm, Forge is not some Omega-level mutant with incredible plot armor. In the comic books, Storm and Forge do not get a happy ending, even though the circumstances are different in the show. Forge's death will maintain the overall theme, but we will keep our fingers crossed for Forge at this time. But you can expect prominent characters like Storm and Jean Grey to be back into the fight in the very next episode. Marvelous verdict. Vintage comic book adaptation at its finest. Some twists in the 9th episode were completely unexpected, but what left the fans awestruck was the confrontation between Magneto and Wolverine in the final moments. The scenes have been taken straight from the comic books, and we would love to see how the show handles the consequences, given that the circumstances are slightly different here. The two different threats, Magneto and Bastion, are still looming large, and the civil war within the X-Men is certainly not helping the cause for the mutant superheroes to restore order. X-Men 97 has stood tall on the high expectation of the fan, and it seems like the season finale will come up with a perfect closure to maintain the legacy of the iconic 90s animated series. Don't forget to share your honest opinions on the episode in the comments below, and also tell us what you think about Wolverine's fate following the vicious attack by Magneto. Can the X-Men set things right before it's too late? Or do you think that the narrative will be dragged out in Season 2 as well? And if you liked our content, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to us if you haven't already. Have a good one and be safe. Thanks everyone!